Hello everyone, welcome to Part 7, Name and Main. An often confusing part of Python, especially as you begin to learn about modules, is this mysterious line of code that looks something like this. If name is equal to main, and then some code underneath it. Well, sometimes when you're importing from a module, you would like to know whether a module's function is being used as an import, or if you are using the original .py file of that module. Let's explore this some more, but make sure to check out the full explanatory text file that's in this parts folder. Let's get started. Okay, here I am at the editor, and to get started I'm going to make two files. I will make a one.py file, that's one.py, and I'm going to make another file that's called two.py, two.py. And then I can say a split left or split right, and then I can see them side by side. Okay, so again, as I mentioned, sometimes when you're importing from a module, you would like to know whether a module's function is being used as an import or if you're using the actual original.py file. So as we saw before, if I'm importing something from 2 into 1 and I run the one.py script, I want to know, did that function directly come from 1 or was it imported from 2? And you can determine this by using that if name is equal to main statement. And when your script is run by passing it as a command to the Python interpreter, such as we've done with python notes.py, all of the code that is at the indentation level 0 gets executed. And functions and classes that are defined are well defined, but none of their code gets ran. Unlike other languages, there's no main function that gets run automatically. The main function is implicitly all the code at the top level. And in this case, that top level code is that of an if block. And that's the if name is equal to main. So let's actually show this. I'm going to, in my one.py file, say def of a func, and here I will say print func in one.py. And we can collapse that tree. And then I'm going to print top level one.py. Whoops. And then here I will say if, and note that I actually get this code automatically for me. So if underscore underscore name underscore underscore is equal to, and in string there, main, and then it says execute main. But we're going to delete that for now and say print one.py is being run directly. And then I can actually have an else statement with this as well. Else print one.py is or has been imported. So I will save this, and then in two.py I'm going to write the following. I will say import one, and then say print top level two.py. And then from 1 I will say call one.func. And then I will say if, again, name is equal to main, print two.py being run directly, and then else, and you don't often see an else, but it can definitely work with an else. We'll say 2 is being imported another, well, I'll just say it's being imported. Now, if we invoke the interpreter here with python one.py and I hit enter, notice I get back out top level one.py is being run directly. And if I run python two.py, I get top level one.py has been imported, top level two.py, func in one.py, two.py is being run directly. And all of this works because of this name. So this underscore underscore name underscore underscore is a built-in variable which evaluates to the name of the current module. However, like I mentioned, if a module is being run directly, as in the one.py or my script.py kind of deal, the name instead is being set to the string main. So whenever I run two.py directly, then this variable name is set to equal main when I run it directly here. And thus you can test whether or not your script is being run directly or being imported by something else. Okay, that's really all we wanted to get across here, that if you ever see if name is equal to main, It's basically a way of initiating the code in your main file, but also checking to see if you're importing functions from another file or calling them directly from the file you're currently in. So if you ever see this phrase or this line of code, don't be confused. A lot of times you will see it at the very bottom of a .py file, and then all the main logic of the code will come here. So often you'll see a bunch of functions in a file that says .py, you get this line of code, and you see a bunch of code logic that uses the functions and classes defined above it. So hopefully you're not intimidated if you see it again. Definitely read the notes for this, but as far as this course is concerned, that's really all you need to know. The basics of how you can set this up to determine whether you're using something directly or importing it. Thanks everyone, and I'll see you at the next lecture.